Reflecting on Rain World, it's almost ineffable. It's like trying to grasp the essence of a dream that slipped through the fingertips of your mind as you woke up. It's hard to put into words just how unique this journey has been. It was more than just a series of challenges and discoveries. It was an emotional roller coaster, filled with wonder, frustration, and poignant memories that linger long after the game ends. Before we continue, I have to issue a warning right here. This video is gonna be filled with spoilers. It's a deep dive into the player's first playthrough of Rain World, from the beginning to the end of the first campaign of this game. You might be wondering then, why watch this video instead of playing the game yourself? Well, Rain World is no easy journey. It's demanding, it requires patience, it requires skill, and it requires you to put up with a lot of randomness and unfairness. If you find intrigue in the idea of a game with high difficulty, which demands a lot from you, then please close this video and play the game yourself. You'll thank me, I promise. But if your time does not allow you to fully invest yourself in enduring the challenges of this game, then this video is exactly for you. This is the exact reason why I made this video. I want as many people as possible to know about this gem of a game. I want to take you through the magic that is playing Rain World for the first time. So with all the disclaimers out of the way, let's get going. After you install Rain World for the first time, and especially because of its icon, you cannot not think of Hollow Knight. You instantly get reminded of the snappy controls, of the epic boss fights, and all of the things that made that game so good. And I'm not saying that you're expecting Rain World to be Hollow Knight, but if you played that game, you know that the bar is pretty damn high. So you boot up the game with skepticism. In the midst of an ocean of indie games, what is the hook of this one gonna be? Is it gonna be any good? You're not sure. The game first presents the protagonist in an initial cutscene. You're a slug cat. You live with your family. But then this rain comes, and you get swept away by its force, separating you from your family. And then you're thrown into the tutorial. Let me take you through it really quick. We start the game and are greeted by an explanation of what the buttons do. Left, right, jump, map, game stuff. We're also introduced to a food system, to platforming, to game stuff. But while doing this, you'll feel that the slug cat feels odd. This game uses procedural animation, and it feels really weird as you play it. And you didn't even get used to it that the game trigger happens, and you're urged to go somewhere. And now you're curious. I don't want to go to shelter. What the fuck is gonna happen? It's raining. Rain World, wow. Yeah, okay. Well, although this looks very interesting, as I've said before, this game not only feels, but is weird. During your first attempts, you don't really understand what it wants to be, and its indifference to you can be very annoying. It was so annoying to me that I actually shelved the game for 1.5 years after trying it, just because I wasn't in the mood at that time to fully delve into it. But unlike other games which I forgot about after shelving, Rain World lingered. This image from the initial cutscene kept reminding me that I need to come back to this game and play as this creature. And holy shit, I'm glad I did. So let me explain how stuff works around here. So the main takeaway that we got from the tutorial is two things. Find food and find shelter before the rain starts. And that sounds easy enough, but let me tell you, it's not. We do our first attempt of navigation through this world and we soon get killed. Either by a lizard, by a weird plant, or by a very angry mother of these fly things? Because we ate its baby. And then immediately it gets eaten by a lizard. Oh yeah, or by the rain. You see, Rain World doesn't really invest any time in holding your hand. Yes, it shows you the basics in the tutorial, it gives you a hint or two during your first run, but that's it. You're then free to figure out how stuff works around here by yourself. Through trial and error, you very slowly do learn. You learn that you're incentivized to explore, since hibernating in the same place and increasing this level system thing to the max does absolutely fuck all for all we know at the moment. You learn that not everything around here wants to kill you, as this game has a full-blown ecosystem, with every creature being active even if you're not around. You may just stumble upon a huge shitstorm that had nothing to do with you. You never know, as every creature is free to do whatever their AI decides to. You see that same procedural animation thing in effect on the other animals as well, and this makes them very unpredictable. You cannot really understand how or when they will attack, and it's very organic, it's very cool. I really like this one. You learn a lot of stuff, but the most important thing you learn is this one. You are on a timer. The period of time in which you can be active is limited and pretty brief. And when that ends, the rain comes back with the force of 1,000 suns, and if you don't find shelter soon enough, it will literally crush you. Okay, so you have a pretty unfair gaming experience. But dare I say it, it's one of the game's strongest points. So let me elaborate. Video Cult, the creators of this game, went full beans on the immersion aspect. From the perspective of knowing how stuff works around this place, you and the Slug Cat are not so different. Both of you have the same problems. You are lost, you are alone, you have absolutely no idea what to do, and this new environment you both find yourselves in is very, very unfair. But such is life, isn't it? So here's the thing, this game is trying to simulate an ecosystem. And within that ecosystem, you, the Slug Cat, are almost at the bottom of the food chain. So how is your experience gonna be? Easy. And within that ecosystem again, don't forget that all of the other animals have their own AI and have procedural animation. And this makes for a lot of bullshit and things that you cannot control, and they just do not stop. And I could go on and on about the ecosystem and how this game feels, but I want to present to you the journey that this game throws at you, which you absolutely do not expect out of this kind of a game. So I don't know if you noticed, but during the tutorial and during gameplay, this weirdo appears. It seems like it's trying to get our attention. It's like it's trying to communicate something with us. Realizing that we have absolutely no idea where to go, we try to heed its advice and follow the instruction that he gives us. And when he's not busy doing whatever this is that he's doing, he will take us to a gate of sorts that is closed. And then an icon on the lower left flashes. Wait, we actually seen this before. This is the symbol on karma. We have to bump our karma to that level to pass? Okay, let's try and do that. So we go ahead and repeat a few cycles of just eating and sleeping and eating and sleeping until we get our karma to that level. And when we get to the gate, lo and behold, it actually works. Okay. Cool, so we have progressed to a new area, it seems. Let's see now. How bad can it... Yeah, well, what did you expect? You just got out of the introductory area of the game and you got to the next one. Like, the next one. This game. The difficulty in Industrial Complex is getting to the point of the median throughout the game. So this is the place where you will get accustomed to the normal difficulty of the game. You will see new enemies, you will see old enemies but with new abilities, you will see breathtaking scenery, and you will die. A lot. No, really, I feel like I have to stress this, so I really cannot do it justice in the video, but when you're playing Rain World, you're dying so much that at some point you feel like you don't want to play anymore, but the world that's being uncovered and the enemies and the scenery and like everything just wants you to keep going, and you feel like you want to keep going, but you're frustrated at the same time. Yeah. It's during these moments of the game that you realize that you have some sort of direction. Yes, you do not know it exactly, and yes, Iggy doesn't always cooperate because he doesn't feel like it sometimes, but it feels like wherever you are going, you are making some progress. And now you want to find more things. And now you want to explore more of this world. And so you go. Without caring that Iggy doesn't always show you the way, you just go ahead and hope that you find a new area. And you do. The story of Rain World isn't given to you directly. The game preferring to expose it in these cryptic means. You are given bits that you will have to piece together yourself in order to make sense of the grand scheme of things. And even though Iggy gives you a hint of what's to come, it will have to wait until the next chapter. Because we're in Garbage Wastes, and it wouldn't be a Rain World video without discussing the main attraction of the AI of this game that I will show you in a second. Exploring Garbage Wastes isn't that different to exploring Industrial Complex or Outskirts. You can and will be killed at every possible occasion, at every misstep that you do. Until you find these guys. These are called scavengers, and they are by far the most interesting creature in Rain World. If at first it just seems like aggressiveness is their only trait, you have to look deeper. Scavengers are to Rain World what Neanderthals were for our world. They have a social structure, they have personal quirks, and they are intelligent beings. If you approach a scavenger slowly and, well, without a menacing looking spear in your hand, you'll see that they study you. they are curious creatures. They will also study what you are carrying. And if it just so happens that you're carrying a pearl, this shiny white object, the scavenger will gaze at it as if you're holding the Holy Grail itself. If you give it to the scav, they will drop everything that they have in exchange for that pearl. And that's very good to know. Throughout the area, you will see scavengers all over the place. And it is very important to know how to handle these fuckers, because it turns out that your actions on them will affect your reputation with them globally. Essentially, this means that if you trade with a scav, or help another scav out of a lizard's jaws for example, the other scavengers will know. Their overall aggression will be toned way down towards you, and they may just help you if you're in need. But what this also means is that if you're aggressive or an asshole to one, all of them will take note of this and treat you accordingly. If you go too far with mistreating them, they will end up constantly sending out kill squads after you. Encounters with scavengers are always unique. Given the fact that they all have a unique combination of quirks, this makes them very unpredictable, and you never know what to expect when you bump noses with one of them. And while exploring this very dangerous area, suddenly you find this thing. Scavenger Toll. Another sort of gate it seems, but with different requirements. In this case, a pearl. You give the scavengers the pearl, are permitted to pass, and get to another gate. A proper one this time. So, from this point onwards, this game is about to get really weird, as if it wasn't enough already. And it's not because you ride fish, or because you get hunted by axolotl lizards, or because there's this thing thrashing about. No. It's because after all this foreshadowing that Iggy did throughout your journey so far, your reward is anticlimactic. Let me show you. So you arrive in a weird room, and you encounter a weird looking robot which looks very damaged. And in typical Rain World fashion, nothing is really explained to you. The robot emits some unintelligible sounds, and it just stares at you. You stare at it back, and that's it. And then just sit there and ask yourself, why the hell did I come all of the way to this place? What is the interaction that I should be having now with this robot thing? How can I advance the game? What should I be doing now? Rain World. You see now, we as gamers are conditioned by all of the games that we have played in the past. And usually when a thing is being shown to us so many times during a playthrough and we get to it, we get this huge boss fight or this huge plot twist or anything. But this is not the case, and this makes us mad. And so we come to the conclusion that the only way to advance the game is to try and eat all of the flying neuron things that are around the robot. Surely this will do something. But just as before, what we are rewarded with is not what we expect. The robot just unceremoniously dies, and then nothing. No cutscene, no boss, nothing. Okay, what the fuck? And now we feel weird. And now we want to go back. Now we want to know what would have happened if we just went to hibernate after seeing the robot. Let's try it. Let's give it a shot. Well, after this very questionable experience, it is beginning to be very clear that you're not dealing with your regular old game here. And sure enough, if we return to the robot, interact with it, make sure that we made contact, and then go back to hibernate, we actually do some in-game progress. And then Iggy points us to another place while projecting an image of a neuron. And we don't want to jump to conclusions anymore. Yeah, most probably we're gonna take the neuron and bring it back to the robot and somehow make it feel better, but judging by how the game has treated us thus far, we just go ahead and yeah. So let's go. Let us advance. And so we arrive to the next area. It is called Shaded Citadel, and its name is very fitting. Aside from being very beautiful from the outside, as most citadels are, inside is a very different story. You see now, inside the Shaded Citadel, you will find the most monstrous, atrocious, and hair-raising creatures that we have experienced in Rain World so far. It starts out pretty tame, though. At the beginning, you only see these cute little boogers that are roaming around and that are scared of you. But it isn't long until you find spitter spiders, big spiders, small spiders, and spider superorganisms made out of spiders. I'll say that again. Spider superorganisms that are made out of spiders. The game calls these coalescepids, and they are just wow. The only thing that makes these spiders be a little bit scared of you is light. But when they coalesce into, yeah, that thing, they are a bit more brave. And they will violently suck out the life force out of you, and I hate them. I hate them so much. I hate them so much. And let me get this straight, I'm not an arachnophobe. But the way that they are animated with this procedural stuff that Rain World has, they're so lifelike and they swarm you, and your first and utmost priority while being in this area is getting out of this area. And you do. You flee, you run, you cower, you do absolutely everything that you have in your powers to get out, hopefully to a better area. Yeah. I honestly do not have too much to say here. I mean, you can see them yourself. They're very disturbing. And erratic. Especially erratic. And their eyes are adapted to this low light environment. So much so that you can use these light bomb things to stun them if things go south. You climb out of this nightmarish place and you get to a new area. The leg. The leg of what, you wonder, as you climb and climb and climb. And you begin wondering and asking yourself, what exactly are we climbing? Where are we going to? What are we gonna find? And to be frank, the answer is far away. Not story-wise, distance-wise. So the main thing about this area, and the one after this one, is that you climb this massive structure, and the platforming is absolutely brutal. You get this grappling hook worm, and like everything in Rain World, it feels off. And you have to do thunder flips with it to advance. And as if the platforming itself wasn't brutal enough, this area also has the most frustrating enemies in the whole game. Firstly, there's these blue tumor things. They don't seem to see, but they can hear you. And as soon as they get their tentacles on you, you're done. And sometimes they just sit in the last place you want them to sit. And it is pretty hard to draw them away from that place, but not towards yourself. Secondly, higher up in Underhang, there's these orange lizards. These ones communicate through their antennae, and they hunt in packs. As soon as one of them sees you, all of the pack knows of your whereabouts. And then they hunt you like pack animals do. One distracts you, the other one flanks you, and before you know it, you're dead. These are very cool. While dying a lot in this area, and I mean a lot, you notice that static electricity builds up in the air. You're so high in the sky that you're basically in the clouds. And then you ask yourself what kind of building needs to be so tall? Why? What is Iggy leading us to? And after a lot more climbing, you finally reach another gate, which has the highest karma requirement. And if you ask yourself why the big requirement and what's past this gate, my response is that you should buckle up. Five Pebbles. The naming of this area reminds you of another area that you have been to in the past. And right off the bat, you notice that this area is not quite normal. There's no gravity here. Okay, this is new. So you carry on. Unfortunately for you, Iggy seems to have completely vanished, and you don't really know where to go. But fueled by curiosity, you carry on. And then suddenly, you find a neuron. Okay, let's take it. And when we're gonna leave this crazy area, we're gonna take it back to the robot. Maybe it will make it feel better, or something. Let's not lose this guy. And you carry on some more. And you get lost some more. And at some point you see these blue tumor things that resemble the ones that ate you when you were climbing the leg. And then you ask yourself if this is the place where the blue things are being produced and then released into the wild or something. You don't know, you don't understand anything here. There's absolutely no explanation that you can think of for this place. And the more you explore, the crazier it gets. You see these walls that kill you in an instant. You see these rooms that make no sense at all. And then you see more neurons. And then you see a lot of neurons. And then suddenly you ask yourself, okay, if there are neurons here, there has to be a robot here, right? The only place where you found neurons before is where you found the damaged robot. So, are we gonna find one here? And if we do, is it gonna kill us? Is it gonna help us? If it's gonna help us, what is it gonna help us with? Is it gonna help the other robot? This place is riddled with questions and with weirdness, and you're not sure what you're gonna find at the end of this journey. And eventually you reach an area which just feels like it's taken out of a sci-fi movie. It feels like the game has been building up to this very moment, right here, right now. Let's see now, game. What have you been cooking for us? Okay, so just because this interaction takes a bit of time, I will try to condense it, for the sake of not making this video too long. So firstly, the robot tries to communicate with you via voice, in the same way that the damaged robot did. And then it tries another method. It tries some alien characters that you do not comprehend. And finally it realizes that it is trying to communicate with a slug cat that does not have the mental capability of understanding this sort of communication, and it does this to you.
Is this reaching you? A little animal on the floor of my chamber. I think I know what you're looking for. You're stuck in a cycle, a repeating pattern. You want a way out. Know that this does not make you special. Every living thing shares that same frustration. From the microbes in the processing strata to me, who am, if you excuse me, godlike in comparison. The good news first. In a way, I am what you're searching for. Me and my kind have, as our purpose, to solve that very oscillating claustrophobia in the chests of you and countless others. A strange charity, you the unknowing recipient, I the reluctant gift. The noble benefactors, gone. The bad news is that no definitive solution has been found, and every moment the equipment erodes to a new state of decay. I can't help you collectively or individually. I can't even help myself. though, there is another way. The old path. Go to the west past the farm arrays, and then down into the earth where the land fissures, as deep as you can reach, where the ancients built their temples and danced their silly rituals. The mark I gave you will let you through. Not that it solves anyone's problem, but yours. At the end of time, none of this will matter, I suppose. But it would be nice if you took another way out. One free of frolicking in my memory arrays. There is a perfectly good access shaft right here. You again? I have nothing for you. I won't tolerate this. Leave immediately and don't come back.
Okay. So that's a lot to digest. Firstly, he talked about cycles and being trapped in them. And this is an aspect that I didn't really touch during this video. But this is tied to this game's death mechanic. I didn't show you what happens when you die, but it is pretty obvious. Your karma goes down a level, and then you restart. And the restart bit is what happens in any game. But here's the rub. From the story's perspective, this is how time flows in Rain World. If you die, you awaken anew. And it makes no difference if you're a gigantic ass robot or a slug cat. If you die, you awaken anew. This is written in the story of the game. I would love to go into more specifics with this subject, but this is already dragging for too long. I just wanna say that I fucking love this, okay? Okay, so moving along, we find it very curious that the robot automatically assumed that we wanted our time problem fixed, and it sent us to some place. And then you ask yourself, what kind of civilization builds such a thing? Was the cycle that unpleasant for them? What the hell? And what does the robot mean by saying that no definitive solution has been found? I mean, this is clearly a post-apocalyptic game and the environments are destroyed and stuff. Where is the advanced civilization? They're all dead, they're gone. The robot said so. Is the solution in the West? What's there? We need to go there, we need to find out. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's not forget why we are carrying these two neurons. Let's go back to the damaged robot. Maybe we'll make it feel better.
We can feel your presence, little creature. Your attunement has become much closer to ours. The mark you received is an unimaginable gift. The struggle, the cycles, it can all fade like the morning mist beneath the glory of the sun. We found a way.
What? Well, after this encounter, the only thing that you can think of is that 5 Pebbles put some sort of mark on you. And now you can communicate with higher beings. And now you have even more incentive to go to the damaged robot, which we'll call Looks to the Moon from now on, because you want to see what she has to say. So you go ahead. And as you exit this robot's bowels, you see this. And your initial reaction would be something in the lines of, wow, okay, so there's more of them. As Pebbles said, me and my kind. So all of these guys are trying to solve the time problem. This is wild. And as you descend, you notice how this structure generates a lot of steam. And then obviously you ask yourself, are these structures maybe the cause of the massive downpours that happen in the rain world? Yeah, one can only guess. So you think to yourself, okay, let's just go to Moon and take the neurons to her and maybe communicate with her and maybe learn something from her, and then let's just go to the west and see what this is all about. But when you think of all the journey that you did from Moon to this place, with a shaded citadel and the leg and underhang, you're not as excited to go back. And then you remember that at some point in the game, a button appeared on the lower left of this screen. And you hope that it's a fast travel system. And what do you know? It is. And hoping that the stuff that you carry in your hands is gonna be carried over to the place you're gonna be fast traveled to, you select Shoreline and confirm.
Hello, little creature. What are you? If I had my memories, I would know. Perhaps I saw you before? You must be very brave to have made it all the way here. But I'm sorry to say, your journey here is in vain. As you can see, I have nothing for you. Not even my memories. Or did I say that already? I see that someone has given you the gift of communication. Must have been 5 Pebbles, as you don't look like you can travel very far. He's sick, you know, being corrupted from the inside by his own experiments. Maybe they all are by now. Who knows? We weren't designed to transcend, and it drives us mad. It is good to have someone to talk to after all this time. The scavengers aren't exactly good listeners. They do bring me things, though, occasionally. I am grateful. The relief is indescribable. I could read a bit of 5 Pebbles in this neuron before formatting it. His condition has severely deteriorated since last I've heard of him. The frustration he feels is profound, and that angst has seeped into every part of him, every neuron. We were supposed to help everyone, you know? Everything. That was our purpose, a great gift to the lesser beings of the world. When facing our inability to do so, we all reacted differently, many with madness. Some, out there, might still be trying. Communications have been bad for a long time, and by now I suspect most of us are isolated like me, or connected only in small groups. But even back when we were all more or less connected, there were those who reacted to their task with anger. I can only imagine they are angrier now, alone in their cans, left only with their insatiable drive. But to be honest, I don't know how many of us are still alive at this point. What is that? Oh, you would like me to read this? It's a bit dusty, but I will do my best. Hold on. Interesting. This one is written by me. It's about an iterator called Sliver of Straw. I don't remember when I wrote it. Do you know Sliver of Straw? She's quite legendary among us. Sliver of Straw is the only one to ever broadcast a specific signal, that the big problem we are all working on has been solved. The triple affirmative. Affirmative that the solution has been found, affirmative that the solution is portable, and affirmative that the technical implementation is possible and generally applicable. She's also one of the few that has ever been confirmed as exhaustively incapacitated or dead. We do not die easily. Sliver of Straw sent this, and the ensuing commotion was historically unparalleled, before or after. I still remember it, but nothing happened, except that Sliver of Straw was apparently dead. When the dust settled, we were all still there blinking at each other. Everyone had a theory. Some said that she did have a solution, but that the solution itself was somehow dangerous. These later became known as the triangulators, who think that a solution should be inferred without being directly discovered. Some said she never had a solution, she just died, and when the systems broke down, an erroneous signal was sent. One camp claimed that dying was the solution. Either way, after that, these different factions developed, as well as a huge forensic effort to recreate and simulate Sliver of Straw's last moments. Some of the simulations were wrapped in a simulation, in case something dangerous might happen. Nothing much has come from it. In my essay, I make the case that maybe she should be allowed to rest in peace now.
I kind of just sat here after this moment, my first playthrough of the game. And it was something about the contrast between how big and imposing Five Pebbles' structure was, along with the climb that we had to do to reach him, and the crippled state in which Looks to the Moon is. It is obvious that her structure collapsed, but we have no idea what caused the collapse. And it is particularly unnerving to see her peacefully wait for the rain to flood her ruined chamber, as she doesn't have any way of sheltering herself from it. As with many things in life, you're forced to accept the situation as it is. And because there's nothing you can do, you conclude that the only thing left is to heed Five Pebbles' advice and head west. After a journey back through garbage wastes and industrial complex, you're in outskirts again. And this area feels so different now. Everything is much easier. You go towards the west, where you know that you found the scavenger toll back when you started the game. You pay the price and carry on. What follows is a region that is doomed to be hated, and this is because of the sole existence of these guys. And while they may seem dangerous at first glance, their problem is totally different. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. For you see, while I really praised Rain World for its AI and ecosystem, I intentionally omitted some details. And by details, I mean problems. The issue with AI is that it is sometimes weird, and Rain World has no shortage of weird AI decision making. And even though creatures do not act like this in real life, at the end of the day you know that you're playing a game and that you can have a laugh at a thing like this. It's not that immersion breaking. But these cows, called reindeer, they're on a totally different level. The gimmick of this area is that you cannot walk over this worm grass by yourself, cause it kills you, and you have to get carried by these things on their antlers. But the problem is that you have to rely on them. And it is one thing when you can fight an AI or evade it entirely, and it is totally different to rely on one to get you from point A to point B. Cause sometimes they straight up don't show up, other times they're just taking a bath, and generally they do not work. And while it is not immersion breaking to have a laugh at a confused lizard, it is very much so when you're waiting a whole cycle for a reindeer to show up. Or when you're seeing it being bad at the only thing that it's supposed to be good at. I've been lucky with them while gathering footage for this video, as I got through farm arrays in a single cycle. But when I played this for the first time, it genuinely took me more than 2 hours to get through this area. Not fun. But when everything eventually clicks, you finally get out of this hellhole and stumble upon a huge fissure in the ground. Just as Five Pebbles said, you know you're on the right path, so you carry on.
A little beast, but not as dim as the rest perhaps. So down into the depths you go, as many others before you, drawn to the void again and again. An endless drip, drip, drip. Much like these tunnels and caves that amuse me so. The bones of forgotten civilizations, heaped like so many sticks. Did they dig too deep? Or not deep enough? Fools. We were right to drill straight through them.
Alright. It seems like this is it. Subterranean. This area doesn't seem very special in the beginning. It's just your regular scavenger, centipede, and lizard. Until you see how deep you have to go. Until you see how deep you have to go. Yeah, okay. So, here's the thing. As corny as this may sound, I really cannot put into words what follows. What I can say is that this section takes at least half an hour to complete in real time. but I will cut and speed up this section the best I can without ruining the intended experience. With that being said, I will proceed to shut the fuck up now. Rain World. This is, without a shadow of a doubt, the most unique game I've ever played in my entire life. And my decision of not talking during the ending sequence was very deliberate. I did it like this because I've never seen such an amazing portrayal of the process of ascending to a higher plane of existence in any sort of media that I have consumed. It's like someone telling you to imagine a thing that you cannot even imagine. But Video Cult not only imagined this, but executed it in the most terrifying and uniquely beautiful way at the same time. This ending, even though it didn't even come close to providing a proper closure to all of the things that we have seen in this playthrough, it made me feel things that I cannot describe. Whenever I try to articulate the tempest that I feel in my chest when seeing this final sequence and when listening to this otherworldly music, sentences just fall apart, and I cannot. And I'm not alone in this. Just look at the comments on this final track on YouTube. Look. I just love the confidence with which Video Cult delivers this ending. It is an ending that takes time, and it requires you to be patient and sit back. And then it proceeds to shake you to your very core. And by ruthlessly filtering out anyone that lacks patience with this game's unrelenting difficulty and unfairness, Video Cult made sure that whoever got to this point will properly enjoy it. It's like a rite of passage. If you had patience with this game, you will have patience with this ending section. Story-wise, I have only scraped the surface with this video. we've only got through the Survivors campaign. Rain World has a very deep story, one in which you, the main character of the game, are a mere speck of dust. There's a massive DLC that puts you in the skin of multiple slug cats, all of which are just methods of delivering an intricate story about the ancients, a long-gone civilization, and the iterators, the supercomputers that they have created and then left behind. If you want to know the full story of this game, I highly recommend you to go ahead and watch Solemn Sunday's gorgeous The Affairs of Passing Gods video. This guy has done an amazing job of putting together everything that you need to know about this game's full story. The voice acting is something that I can only dream of pulling off, and I cannot recommend his video enough. I'll link it in the description. I hope you enjoyed this odyssey. I hope that you didn't cringe too bad at my voiceover and voice acting. As a non-native English speaker, I sometimes struggle to express myself naturally, especially when the emotions run so strong. Finally, I want to thank Video Cult. It is so damn refreshing to be reminded that even if video games have mostly become this huge soulless money-making machine, there will always be some very passionate weirdos that do not give two shits about sticking to the norm and that are not scared of doing something truly original and truly convention-shattering. And I'm going to end this video with a promise. A promise to Video Cult and to myself. I promise that I will never forget Rain World. This game has permanently cemented itself in my stupid brain, and this memory will never fade away. I'll always remember it as the most unique experience I've had looking at the computer screen. Thank you again, Video Cult. You guys are truly one of a kind.